So we're doing the Squawking 7 top favorite fear moments. Your favorite moment, what part do you like to watch over and over again? What made you stand up and cheer on Fear the Walking Dead? You know what? You could be here and be part of this recording right now and be putting your answers in the comments with us that we could read out right now if you were here. And it's so easy to do. Dave, how do they do that?
You do that by heading over to either ko-fi.com/squawkingdead or patreon.com/squawkingdead. You don't have to buy us a coffee or join a membership tier. Just follow for free because that's where we post our recording schedules. We don't post them on social media. You know what that reminds me of? This is a perfect segue, by the way, because I'm going to go into this.
She's a child.
Am I next?
Sure, you're next.
And this is number 4?
You're number 4.
Yeah.
Okay, so my number 4 actually happens to be, and I actually did think of this one as, and I didn't know exactly where to put it, but this is as good a place as any, and that's that moment when Morgan has Ginny over that rock outside Eden, which we know as Eden, right? And everybody's looking at him because he's supposed to have the answer and he's supposed to be the one to do this. And just beforehand, Ginny and he, as Ginny's like, you know, she's in pain and she was just shot and he's holding her around with a potato sack as a gurney sort of thing for her arm. And she's saying all throughout that scene leading up to that, she's saying, we're the same, Morgan. We keep thinking that we're not, but we're the same. Going back to that moment with Naomi/Laura/June, Morgan stopping Alicia from killing Naomi. So you go back to this and it's kind of like where he yells out and it actually kind of made my heart skip a beat. And he says, what the hell are we doing out here? And all the flashbacks, the black and white flashbacks of John. And that was just such a moment where like you think it might happen and everybody expects it from him and he has to be the one to say it has to stop with me. It has to stop with me. It was just a powerful moment that made me stop. Whatever you think after that moment, whatever happens after that, in that moment, as I was watching it week to week, that was a pretty powerful moment.
I gotta say, Colby's performance in that moment.
For you, it was Morgan that brought up the emotions. For me, it was both. It was Colby. Like Colby,
it's like, oh my god, Colby!
The tears she was, I was
just like, do it! Oh my god! Oh,
and that crying and the yelling cry sort of thing. Oh, but them going off of each other and feeding off their kinetic energy. It was just explosive.
In anybody else's hands, I feel like Jenny could have been a very cartoonish villain. You said, yes, she does chew the scenery a bit, but she's still a very powerful villain. Just like perhaps in the hands of a different actor, nothing against you, Tanya Pinkins, but Martha would have been a more solid villain for people because I know a lot of people didn't like her. They thought she was a ridiculous villain, and maybe it was the acting. Maybe it was the casting.
It was the writing.
I think
people didn't understand what she represented too.
Yeah,
she was just walking.
But again,
depression.
with a different actor, it could have been put across better with a different actor. You never know. But
that's one where they really buried the lead. They give her backstory like at the end. Yeah, I get you're going for like the shock value of this is why she is the way that she is, but you should have led with this because it makes her a more believable villain. She seemed so over the top, so like malicious for no reason. Like, why do you care about these random people? Like, you're chasing people you don't even know.
Because they're trying to help people. I don't know.
And I hate help, but for no reason.
If I didn't get help, then nobody else should.
But it's like you don't know that until you
we didn't know that.
Yeah, they buried the lead on. It wasn't a revelation that they thought it was going to be like, oh, like you're like, oh, cool. I wish you had said that at the beginning because then maybe I wouldn't have hated her so much. Thanks.
Right. We find out and then we're like, oh, okay.
Oh.
I still don't feel stupid.
You're like, I don't feel sorry for her now because she sucked so bad.
You know what? In the rear view, though, I actually, this is one of those things that as much as we rail on Fear the Walking Dead for even season 6 and 7, about how the story arc doesn't hold so much, that part didn't hold as much in season 4. But in the rear view, when you kind of get to see everything from a distance, I appreciate it a little bit more over time. Honestly, the Martha arc.
Well, that's because you have the whole picture. Once you have the whole picture, she's a much more believable villain. You kind of get where she's coming from. It becomes more of like a Thanos thing.
Like an archetype-ish
I get
situation.
why he wants to destroy half of everybody, and it's like to really save everyone. You don't see that until after. So like, yeah, sure, great on a second or third watch. But there are people who are like never going to watch that again because they were like, that was ass. No, thank
Yeah,
you.
100%.
I'm a boob man.
We even said it
Not
at the time too.
Sorry, boys.
Have you seen him?
I haven't said that in so long. Sorry, boys.
Dave's like, what the fuck?
Sorry, boys. Sushi chop. I get it. I'm hip with the kids.
Sushi chop. It's just a chop.
It's like
anyway,
there's a.
my number 4 is Travis finding Madison and Alicia again. That's why I said, I was like, turns out I'm a bigger fan of the first 3 seasons than I thought I would. There are a lot of really impactful moments in the first 3 seasons, and this was one that I really enjoyed because the characters are separated. And while with Walking Dead, you always kind of assumed like they'll find a way to come back together and it'll happen again, they'll be together again. Or at least that's really your hope. With Fear, it was a different show. You didn't know. Is this it now? Is Travis gone? Like, we don't know what's going to happen. We all hated Chris at that point. So like, good riddance. So we weren't quite sure. It was shocking to find out that Travis had left his son. Because that was the other thing. He was going after his son. He was making it very clear. I'm leaving because I'm choosing my child in this situation, which is, as much as people probably talk trash about Travis for that decision, it was the right decision. Your child
absolutely
comes first. And especially now that your child only has you. So to all of a sudden see Travis again, you're like, what is going on? So there's that. You're like curious about what happens. And obviously that gets filled in later. And that is a really great episode where we find out what happened to Chris. It's heartbreaking, but it's a really great episode. But the initial reunification, you're happy and you're relieved in a way, but at the same time, you're kind of like, what else? It leaves a lot of questions
here.
What happened? Did he realize Chris was like a total dick? Because we all knew it, but but it is his kid. So what's going on?
Further punctuated by like everything that gets filled in later, right? So that
Plus,
moment has more meaning.
I enjoyed the hotel as a setting too. I thought it gave like a good variety, and so I was like happy that kind of with that whole story arc there.
I wanted to say because I haven't watched those episodes.
Shame.
I
think you actually might like them. I say that all the time though.
Shame.
Confess.
Shane. Number 4, I think, should be on everybody's list. Strand's laugh.
Strand?
What preceded that again? I'm trying to remember. Can you recall?
That's when he found.
Yes.
That is when Sherry and Dwight show up because he told his men to go out and bring back the dark horses, and they came up on the tower with hoods over their heads, and the big reveal, and he sees that it's just Dwight and Sherry,
and he's like, "It's you two." That's great.
It's great. It was great. He's up there playing golf, eating strawberries.
He's eating strawberries. He's got his little phone.
Yeah.
Truly the highlight of season 7B. 7. Yeah. Period.
I remember putting in my notes, and I never said this in the episode, but I looked at his caddy and I'm like, is that Clementine? I was like, I wanted to look really closely because she really resembled Clementine from the Walking Dead game, the Telltale game.
I don't think I paid
and I was like,
close of attention.
Let me look at that leg for a minute. Those who know.
Spoilers, Dave. Spoilers.
I thought she was kind of a dead ringer. I'm like, huh.
Could have been like a little thing they threw in there.
I finally brought it up.
Congratulations.
3 years later.
Yeah, that episode was till death also with the...
that was the same as the wrestling.
The wrestling
episode.
See, it was a good episode.
My number 4 is the San Antonio split.
Yes.
I just want to say that it made me jump out of my seat and cheer like a certain part of Game of Thrones did that Bridget has not seen yet. It's okay, Bridget. It's okay.
How much of that moment can you frame for those who know? Anything?
Arya taking out the Night King.
Gotcha.
Because she has the dagger, and then she drops it.
Don't do the movement.
She can't do what I'm doing. But she drops this dagger. Anyway.
Too spoilery.
That part.
Okay, fine.
Okay.
All right.
Come back. Ears.
Okay. Anyway, so
I was yelling at Sharon because her hand movements were too spoilery.
I read your lips. I saw you be like, no more hand movements.
You didn't
Something
read the
about
rest of the
fire?
books, did you?
No.
Okay. This episode was very, very shortly after that happened on Game of Thrones. I legitimately was excited enough that I jumped up out of my seat. Was like, yes, even though it was
we know
ridiculous.
which number that one is for you. That moment.
Yes, it was silly. For real, June could have run up with the rifle and shot him herself. I mean, it's so dumb, but it was so funny and so cute. And I love the whole episode, the whole Western theme park. Again, I was coming straight off of Westworld, so I really loved the Western theme and everything.
That's like the keystone of that episode. Like, you could like everything about that episode. It's like, oh, this is the thing we'll remember.
It was like, so tense. Is he going to do it? Of course he's going to do it. He's John. Dwight had the strength to lift the axe up and hold it, but he didn't have the strength to push the walker off of him and get up. I mean, come on. It was silly. It was silly.
Your blanket depicts them behind you.
Yeah.
It's from that episode.
Yep, exactly. Right there.
Yep.
I heard somebody say, I've talked about this on that podcast too, but somebody said that it was best that Dwight met June and John first, because had he met anybody else, he likely would have been dead.
Mm-hmm.
He's shooting at them or whatever. They would have just shot him and be done with it.
Mm-hmm.
But June and John are the two that are going to take the time. And somebody looking for his wife or missing a loved one, who's going to understand that better than John and June? Because what if Morgan had just met up with him?
That would have been very complicated because he knows him.
It would have been crazy,
Or knows
that was also a very good
episode
moment, though.
Too. Yeah,
when we see those two on camera, and he's like, "Did you take the 20?"
That was like the Californians. Did you take the 40? I took the 1 to the 405.
It was good when I was on it.
It made me laugh so hard. It was very tense for a moment. Yeah.
Truly, I would say my number 4 is the entirety of Humbug's Gulch. I loved so much. I loved so much that they called it back from Laura when he said, "I work at Humbug's Gulch," and they brought that back in the next season.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Continuity.
Did any of these picks resonate with you? Have you made a list of your own top 7 favorite moments on Fear the Walking Dead? What would you have placed in this spot and why? Tell us in the comments. Or you can go the extra mile and share them in a podcast rating at ratethispodcast.com/squawkingdead. And don't miss out on future opportunities to share your thoughts. Follow us on either Ko-fi or Patreon.